Hi, let's talk family traditions. When you think back in your childhood, what were some family traditions that were so important to you? Things that you really treasured and that were very valuable? What are some traditions that you're already doing today that you love and that your kids love? Creating family traditions is not always easy, but it is always going to be worth it. When I think about one more thing on my to-do list, one more thing that I have to do as a mom, it can be overwhelming and it can be challenging and it can feel heavy, but that's not what I want you to do. When you think about family traditions, I want you to think about, this is how I'm going to glue and put my family together and bond them tighter. This is something that is going to bring lifetime of value to my kids. So let's think about family traditions and what it could look like. So first of all, why am I going to do this? What are the benefits of family traditions? And I want to read some of this research. Children who participate in family traditions show 15 to 20% lower rates of anxiety and depression compared to those who don't. 89% of families who maintain a regular family traditions report a stronger bonded unit, and adolescents who are in families with strong family traditions are 40% more likely to show resilience when we have to hit some of these major life transitions. And we think about it academically and socially. And when you step back even bigger on the family cohesion and the communication within your family, is parents who maintain some of these traditions, higher satisfaction within the family relationship. Adults who grew up with family traditions report having a better relationship with their parents into adulthood. Now, those are all things that I want to get, and I'm sure those are things that you want to have as well. So let's talk about, how do we make these traditions stick? How do I not overwhelm myself with adding more things to my plate? No, let's start small. Think of just a few things that you already do that are family traditions, and then add maybe one or two that resonate with you. One of the things that make it a tradition is the consistency, that we do this every day, we do this every month, we do this all the time. And it solidifies kind of what we do as a family, and let it evolve, let it grow as it builds in momentum and it has more fun. Don't stick to a box, but let it move with your family. Now, I want to talk about, and I want to break them down into daily, to weekly, to monthly, to yearly, to maybe once in a lifetime. So let's break it down to some daily traditions that we can have. So for me, as a homeschooling mom, one of our traditions is our morning routine. So we do prayer in the morning, we do Bible in the morning, we talk about some kind of spiritual truth. So that is part. Maybe your kids go off to school. So maybe yours is a ritual that you do before they walk out the door, whether it's a kiss or a hug or a prayer or whatever it looks like before they walk out of your house, that you are tradition that you do every single day. Maybe it's a dinner hour. So for us, the dinner hour is a non-negotiable tradition in our home. We eat dinner together as a family. Now, that doesn't mean we eat dinner together every single night. We eat dinner together most nights as a family. You have to carve out that time to make it happen. This is when there's no phones, there's no other activities. It's just us as a family. Now, I know it's a lot of work. I know what it means to cook a meal. Been doing it for the last 30 years or so. We have to plan it, cook it, clean it. All those things take time and effort. If you create this family dinner hour, there's so much research that shows the value of that. Having time and bonded as a family by just eating the dinner meal together. The seasons we were at, our kids were busy and they were involved in sports and activities and outside. And so there are times that we were eating dinner on the floor of the gym at the YMCA, but we were eating together as a family. Often my husband worked late, and so he didn't get to sit down at the dinner hour for us. So then we would do a dessert that night. And so he was eating dinner and we would eat dessert. The kids love that. So look for a way, how can I incorporate some of these daily rituals to be part of our family tradition? Maybe it's a bedtime routine. Now, I know nowadays families go way overboard with this bedtime routine now. I would read a book, I would pray with my kids, kiss them, they brush their teeth, and we go to bed. So establish some kind of tradition that you guys do in your own household. Daily, you want to do devotions with your kids. So maybe that's done at the dinner hours, maybe that's done at bedtime, maybe that's made at the waking hour. But look for a way that daily you can pour biblical truth into your kids. So that's some of the daily things that you can do that traditions. Let's talk about some weekly things that you can do that create traditions. So maybe you want to create a Saturday breakfast club where it's Saturday mornings, because you're scattered all the other mornings, but Saturday mornings, we're going to have breakfast together as a family and we're going to have a fun breakfast. Maybe for you, it's devotions. Maybe you can't do the devotions every single day. That's too much. It's overwhelming. But we will weekly as a family, we will set aside time that we will do devotions. Weekly, you guys have created a game night. So every Thursday night is your game night, or some of you do games at home. Maybe you go out and do bowling, or maybe you do pop pickup. It's some kind of an activity that you do as a family. No, it doesn't have to do all night long. It can be a couple of hours or 30 minutes where Thursday nights is our game night. So after dinner on Thursday, we do 30 minutes we play games. So it doesn't have to be complicated. Some of the things you can do together as weekly is read together. So maybe you guys sit down and you read a good book together, or maybe that's a daily tradition that you daily read to your kids. Maybe you can only do it once a week where you sit down and you do kind of that and you discuss a book and you read a chapter and you discuss it. And then next week you read the next chapter and you build on that, a foundation. Another thing that maybe you want to do weekly as a tradition, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a grandma now and I'd like to be referred to Nana, but doesn't matter, is spend time with your children's grandparents or your grandparents or extended family. Carve out time weekly, whether if they don't live locally, then maybe you FaceTime them and you connect with them. Another thing that you can do weekly is create a Sabbath day of rest. So maybe you can't do the whole Sunday, but you can do a couple of hours where you put away your screens and you just relax as a family. And it's no pressure. Nothing gets activated during those 2 hours. It's just time to be as a family, to relax and just to breathe and to do activities that will build you guys up as a family and create rest times for your kids. Another thing is family meetings. Maybe weekly you want to create a family meetings where on Sunday nights you meet as a family and you go over what's going to be expected for the week. So that's a tradition in our families. So we weekly kind of go over what this week is going to look like. So you can have daily traditions, you can have weekly traditions. Now let's talk about some monthly traditions. So maybe for you, you want to do a monthly service project. And this is where you would maybe join your church. And what are they already doing that you can jump in as a family? And you only do it once a month. Maybe it's only 1 hour once a month. It doesn't have to be the whole day and you took up your whole Saturday. Maybe it's just for a few hours. Maybe it's looking in your neighborhood. Do you have an elderly neighbor that could use to have their car washed or their lawn mowed, or maybe a dinner delivered to a new mom who just had a baby? Look for ways to serve within your own communities. So sometimes this is making cookies for your next door neighbor or bringing them over and just spending that an hour or 30 minutes just engaging in a dialogue just at the fence or at the front door. So look for ways that monthly you can pour into people. I know homelessness is a huge thing in a lot of communities, and we used to put together these, we called them homeless bags, and they called them border bags because we crossed an international border all the time and there was a lot of homeless and a lot of hard things that we saw. And so we put together these bags, and it was granola bar and water and maybe a memory verse, and we would pass that out to people as we saw them. And we just spend a couple of hours and we put those bags together and then they'd be in our car and we're ready to go. So look for places that you can give. And monthly we sit down as a family. How are we doing as a family? What do you guys want to do as a family this month or next month? And what have we done really well? And just pour truth. And maybe that's when you do your devotion. Maybe you don't get it every week. Maybe you don't even get it every day, but you do monthly sit down with your family, and that's a tradition. Your kids know the first Saturday of the month, that's time for our family. Look for ways that works for your family. So that's monthly. Let's talk about yearly. What are some yearly traditions that we can do? Now, some of the highlights are the holidays. So piggyback off the holidays, whether it's your traditions that you do for Christmas time. We do the 25 days of Christmas. It is non-negotiable. I have created a monster, but my kids love that more than anything else we do for the holidays. Maybe it's a Thanksgiving tradition that you have incorporated. We used to write around a pumpkin, all the things we're thankful for, and that became a tradition. So look for things that become a tradition on your holidays that your kids look forward to and expect to have happening. Some of the things you can do for yearly is the birthday. So every time somebody has a birthday, their tradition is you get to pick your birthday breakfast and you get to pick where you go out to dinner. And that's our family tradition that we have for your birthday. You know that's coming. So create some of these things. Maybe every year when it's your birthday, you wake up to balloons in your bedroom, or maybe it's a sign on your door, but create some of these traditions that become true for your family. So yearly. So think about vacations. How can we yearly take a vacation as a family? Sometimes we weren't able to afford. My husband's business was really busy during the summer. So look for ways that you can incorporate a family vacation, whether it's even just an overnight trip or a camping trip, but look for ways that you can celebrate and have fun together as a family. Maybe it's a staycation and you do it at home, but you've planned a week of activities that you're going to do as a family in your own neighborhood. So another thing is mission trip. Now, I am going to speak this over and over again. If you're around long enough, you'll get to know this is one of my passions. We serve with youth with a mission here in Mexico. And one of the programs we have is Homes of Hope. And we build a family a house in 2 days. So amazing. I just love it. I get to be a part of it. But this is why any family can be a part of this. And I'll drop it in the link of how you can get involved in that. But you can bring your family and do a 2-day missions trip. Actually, it takes about 4 days, so you got to fly here and back. But it's where you get to, as a family, pour into another family and build them a home. And it doesn't matter what age your kids are. So that's something maybe you can do yearly, do a missions trip. once in a lifetime. So there'll be some celebrations, some traditions that you do once in a lifetime. So that is when your kids get married or have a baby or go off to college. So create some tradition around that event. For us, when our kids become of age, a certain maturity, is we take them away for a weekend and we invest in them into their maturity and what's coming in the teenage years and all of that. So we do what's called Passport to Purity. Some people love it, some people don't, but it was a great launching pad for us to help us speak into our kids' life and what's coming and to be a voice of truth and reason and identity during those seasons. Those are some ways to look at family traditions, from daily traditions to once in a lifetime traditions. Just pick what works for you. What is one of these traditions that you're like, oh, we did that as a family, or I want to start doing that as a family, and then incorporate that into your family rhythm and your family's routine. If you look over the years and certain things were traditional in your family, fight for things that are valuable. Bring those up to truth, but don't be afraid to incorporate and bring in some new ones that'll benefit, will help your kids solidify who they are as a family. God used the family to create a space where we will build our identity, where we will build who we are in Him, the truth, and all of those things. And it is through traditions that we're able to incorporate and bond our family. We must take our family back and build a fortress through family traditions that will help our family withstand all the things that life is going to throw at them. When you think about building traditions, think about building the family. The one good thing about family is you have 18 years to pour into your family. So let's create memories and tradition that will build our family over the next 18 years that we get them in our home. Now, let's be truthful here. The world is tearing apart the family unit, and we have to fight to maintain some of these traditions. They're not going to come easy. They're not going to be a walk in the park, but as a mom, you need to build this foundation around your kids' life so they can experience who and what God really designed within the family unit. So start small, take a few traditions and just build on them and create a space where your family can't wait to emulate, can't wait to be a part of, and really looks forward to the things that make your family unique. So until next time, let's get intentional with our families and let's create some really amazing family traditions.